Hey everyone, Trevor Noah here. Today, we're diving into a topic that's as thrilling as a roller coaster ride at an amusement park. Buckle up, because we're about to explore the twists and turns of Russia's economy. Let's talk about Russia's economy. It's a subject that has fascinated economists, politicians, and everyday people alike. From the bustling streets of Moscow to the remote villages in Siberia, the economic landscape of Russia is as diverse as its geography. It's been a wild ride, folks, with more ups and downs than a kangaroo on a trampoline. The Russian economy has seen periods of rapid growth followed by sharp declines, making it a case study in volatility. From the highs of oil wealth to the lows of international sanctions, Russia's economic story is one of boom, bust, and everything in between. The country's vast natural resources have been both a blessing and a curse, providing immense wealth, but also making the economy highly susceptible to global market fluctuations. For years, Russia relied heavily on its vast natural resources, especially oil and gas. These commodities have been the backbone of the Russian economy, driving growth and providing the government with significant revenue. These exports brought in big bucks, but when global energy prices fluctuated, so did Russia's fortunes. The volatility of oil prices has had a direct impact on the country's economic stability, leading to periods of prosperity followed by economic downturns. It's like putting all your eggs in one basket, then dropping the basket down a flight of stairs. The lack of economic diversification has made Russia vulnerable to external shocks, and the consequences have been severe. Add to that the impact of corruption, lack of diversification, and you've got a recipe for economic instability. Corruption has been a persistent issue, eroding public trust and hindering economic development. Meanwhile, the failure to diversify the economy has left many sectors underdeveloped and struggling. And then came 2024, a year that promised change, but also brought new challenges. The world watched as Russia navigated through a complex web of economic reforms, geopolitical tensions, and social upheavals. But we'll get to that later. There's a lot to unpack before we reach that point, and understanding the past is crucial to making sense of the present and future. First, let's talk about inflation. Inflation has been a persistent issue in Russia, affecting everything from the price of groceries to the cost of housing. It's a phenomenon that has far-reaching implications for the average Russian citizen and the overall economy. Imagine going to the supermarket and finding that the price of bread has doubled overnight. For many Russians, this is a reality they face regularly. Inflation erodes purchasing power, making it harder for people to afford basic necessities. The Russian government and central bank have implemented various measures to control inflation, but the results have been mixed. Interest rate adjustments, currency interventions, and fiscal policies have all been employed in an attempt to stabilize prices. One of the key factors influencing inflation in Russia is the exchange rate of the ruble. When the ruble weakens against other currencies, the cost of imported goods rises, contributing to higher inflation. Conversely, a stronger ruble can help keep inflation in check, but achieving this balance is no easy task. Agriculture plays a significant role in Russia's economy, and the sector has been both a victim and a beneficiary of inflation. On one hand, rising prices for agricultural products can benefit farmers, but on the other hand, the cost of inputs like seeds, fertilizers, and equipment also increases. The manufacturing sector has also felt the impact of inflation. Higher costs for raw materials and energy have squeezed profit margins, making it difficult for businesses to invest in new technologies and expand production. For consumers, inflation means higher prices for a wide range of goods and services. From electronics to clothing, the cost of living has been steadily rising, putting a strain on household budgets. Addressing inflation requires a multifaceted approach. The government must balance short-term measures to control prices with long-term strategies to promote economic growth and stability. This involves not only monetary policy, but also structural reforms to improve productivity and competitiveness. Education and workforce development are critical components of this strategy. By investing in education and training, Russia can build a more skilled and adaptable workforce, capable of driving innovation and supporting economic diversification. Innovation is another key area of focus. Encouraging entrepreneurship and supporting tech startups can help diversify the economy and reduce dependence on natural resources. Russia has a rich history of scientific and technological achievements, and tapping into this potential can pave the way for a more resilient economy. Infrastructure development is also essential. Modernizing transportation networks, energy systems, and communication infrastructure can enhance productivity and facilitate economic growth. These investments create jobs and improve the quality of life for citizens, contributing to a more stable and prosperous economy. Tourism is another sector with significant potential. Russia's rich cultural heritage and natural beauty attract millions of visitors each year. By promoting tourism and improving infrastructure, the country can generate additional revenue and create new opportunities for local businesses. Healthcare is another critical area. Ensuring access to quality healthcare services is not only a social imperative, but also an economic one. A healthy population is more productive and better able to contribute to economic growth. Social programs and public services play a vital role in supporting the well-being of citizens. By investing in social safety nets and community initiatives, the government can help mitigate the impact of economic fluctuations and promote social cohesion. Environmental sustainability is another important consideration. As the world moves towards greener energy sources, Russia has the opportunity to diversify its economy by investing in renewable energy and conservation efforts. This not only helps protect the environment, but also creates new economic opportunities. International relations and trade are also crucial. Building strong diplomatic ties and engaging in global trade can help Russia access new markets and attract foreign investment. This requires a careful balance of geopolitical considerations and economic interests. Looking ahead, the future of Russia's economy will depend on its ability to adapt to changing global dynamics and address internal challenges. By embracing innovation, investing in human capital, and promoting sustainable development, Russia can build a more resilient and prosperous economy for the future. Ultimately, the story of Russia's economy is about its people. Their resilience, creativity, and determination will shape the country's economic trajectory. As we continue this journey, we'll explore the various facets of Russia's economy and the factors that will influence its future. So stay tuned, because the ride is far from over. There's much more to discover and understand about Russia's economic landscape. Thank you for joining me on this roller coaster ride, and I look forward to exploring more with you in the next chapter. Remember when you could buy a loaf of bread for $1? It seems like a distant memory now, doesn't it? The days when you could walk into a store and pick up a loaf of bread without a second thought are long gone. Prices have been steadily climbing, and what used to be a simple everyday purchase has now become a significant expense for many. Yeah, those were the days. Back then, shopping was a routine task, not a financial burden. People could fill their carts with essentials and even a few treats without worrying too much about the total at the checkout. But now, every trip to the store feels like a balancing act, trying to stretch every ruble as far as it can go. In Russia, inflation has been hitting hard, making everyday goods and services more expensive. The cost of living has skyrocketed, and it's not just the price of bread that's gone up. Everything from milk to meat, from vegetables to household items, has seen a significant increase. This surge in prices is putting a strain on the average Russian household, forcing people to make tough choices about what they can afford. Official figures put inflation at insert current inflation rate, but the reality on the ground often feels much worse. The numbers reported by the government might not fully capture the extent of the price hikes that people are experiencing in their daily lives. It's one thing to read about inflation in a report, but it's another to feel its impact every time you go shopping. Some experts believe the real number is much higher. They argue that the official statistics might be underestimating the true extent of inflation and that the actual cost increases are much more severe. These experts point to the rising prices of basic necessities and the growing financial pressure on households as evidence that the situation is more dire than the official figures suggest. This means people are feeling the pinch, with their hard-earned rubles buying less and less. Families are having to rethink their budgets, cutting back on non-essential items and finding ways to save wherever they can. The financial strain is palpable, and it's affecting people's quality of life in significant ways. Imagine going to the store and finding your favorite snacks are now twice the price. It's not just the big-ticket items that have become more expensive. Even the little treats that people used to enjoy without a second thought are now out of reach for many. The joy of indulging in a favorite snack has been replaced by the frustration of seeing prices soar. It's enough to make you want to cry in your borscht. The rising cost of food is hitting people where it hurts the most, at the dinner table. Traditional meals that used to be affordable and comforting are now a source of stress and worry. The simple pleasure of sharing a meal with family has been overshadowed by the anxiety of making ends meet. This economic strain is causing real hardship for ordinary Russians. Families are struggling to keep up with the rising costs, and many are finding it difficult to make ends meet. The financial pressure is taking a toll on people's mental and emotional well-being, as they worry about how to provide for their loved ones, especially those on fixed incomes or living below the poverty line. For the elderly and those who are already struggling financially, the impact of inflation is even more severe. With limited resources and little room to maneuver, these individuals are facing an uphill battle just to cover their basic needs. The rising cost of living is exacerbating existing inequalities and making it harder for the most vulnerable members of society to get by. Small business owners are also feeling the squeeze. With higher costs for supplies and fewer customers able to afford their products, many are struggling to stay afloat. The ripple effects of inflation are being felt throughout the economy, affecting not just consumers, but also the businesses that serve them. In response to these challenges, some Russians are taking to the streets to protest the high prices. They are demanding action from the government to address the rising cost of living and provide relief for those who are struggling. These protests are a sign of the growing frustration and desperation among the population. The government has acknowledged the issue and is taking steps to address it, but many feel that more needs to be done. There are calls for stronger measures to control inflation and support those who are hardest hit. The situation remains tense, and it is clear that the rising cost of living is a major concern for many Russians. Despite the challenges, there is still hope. Families are finding ways to cope and support each other through these difficult times. Communities are coming together to help those in need, and there is a sense of resilience and determination to overcome the hardships. Community organizations and volunteers are playing a crucial role in providing support. From food banks to financial assistance programs, these efforts are making a difference for many people. The spirit of solidarity and mutual aid is helping to alleviate some of the pressure and provide a lifeline for those who are struggling. Some are turning to self-sufficiency as a way to cope with the rising costs. Growing their own food, bartering with neighbors, and finding creative ways to save money are becoming more common. These strategies are helping people to stretch their resources and maintain a sense of control in an uncertain economic climate. Education is also playing a role in addressing the issue. Schools and community programs are teaching people about budgeting, financial planning, and ways to manage their money more effectively. By equipping individuals with the knowledge and skills they need, these initiatives are helping to build a more financially resilient population. In the face of adversity, small victories are being celebrated. Whether it's finding a good deal at the market, successfully growing a garden, or simply making it through another month, these moments of success are a testament to the strength and resilience of the Russian people. The road ahead may be challenging, but there is hope on the horizon. With determination, solidarity, and a willingness to adapt, the people of Russia are finding ways to navigate the rising cost of living and build a brighter future for themselves and their families.